Hello and welcome. My name is Nicholas Haines. I'm a kindness ambassador at the 5 Institute, creator of the Vitality Test, and co-founder of the No More Boxes movement. And super proud to be part of the Conscious Parenting Weekend. Haven't the crew at Positively Power Kids just put on a stupendous weekend for us? Absolutely stunning. So, round of applause to you. So what I'm going to be talking about in this particular session is this aspect of why do so many of us wander around not feeling good enough, feeling perhaps an imposter, struggling with self-esteem issues or confidence, perhaps struggling to really kind of step up into our greatness. Why do so many of us struggle with issues around self-esteem? Now, it makes sense if you've had a really, really difficult and troubling childhood as to that you haven't had a good start, you really struggle with that. But so many of us actually have really good childhoods. Our parents are parenting well, etc. And yet, so many of us really struggle to feel good about ourselves. What's actually going on? Well, that's what this very nature of this presentation is about, to explore why so many of us struggle to come out of our childhood with a good self-esteem. And also, I'm going to give you some solutions around that. Now, this work that we're going to be sharing is based on my 35 years practicing traditional Chinese medicine, at which time I conducted over 50,000 one-on-one consultations. And of course, there were loads of parents there. I'm a parent, so lots and lots of discussions. So you'd think that traditional Chinese medicine was all about pain and physical stuff, but it isn't. It's got an enormous component about our psyche. How do we function and how do we show up in the world? So that's what I'm going to be exploring with this main thing of saying, why do so many of us struggle to come out of our childhood feeling truly good about ourselves? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen, run through some slides for you, and we shall get this show on the road. So, this big question, why is it almost impossible to come out of a childhood with a good self-esteem, and what can you do about it? Now, some of this content is coming out in a book next year called Feeling Good About Yourself, Mission Impossible, explores that very topic. Now, what I want to do is I want to start out looking at the components of our psyche, what makes up the parts of us that go inside our head. So what we have is 5 main areas. We've got our conscious mind, this part of us that knows who we are and says, who am I? Then we have our willpower, this part of us that says, yes, I can do it. We can dig deep. Then we have our intellect, this part of us that rationally works out things, makes sense of things. Then we have our unconscious mind, this part that's sitting there deep below the surface, this all-powerful part, the unconscious and the subconscious mind. And then the fifth and final part of our psyche is our imagination, the part of us that comes up with creative ideas and thinks of stuff. The imagination, the part of us that wanders around at night and creates our dreams during the day. So in simple terms, these are our 5 components of our psyche. Now, what's really important about those is something is going on here, and that's to do with communication. And our conscious mind, our willpower, and our intellect all are similar, and they will all hear statements and answer questions. So our conscious mind will hear a statement, our willpower will hear a statement, come on, you can do this, it will respond. Our intellect will hear a statement, and they will also all 3 of them will also answer questions. That's the way that they roll. However, our unconscious mind and our imagination are completely different. They only answer questions. They don't hear statements at all. They have selective hearing. So your unconscious mind, your imagination don't hear statements. They only hear questions, and they have to answer any question they're given. That's their job, and they won't see or consider anything else, and they don't care how the answer makes you feel or think. Let's unpack that a bit. So your unconscious mind, your imagination only hears questions, and they have to answer every single question that they're given. They won't change it. They won't flip it around. They just answer the question, and they don't care how the answer makes you feel. They just don't care about that. That's not their concern. They're just there to answer the questions they're given, and the more intensity and power that question is asked, the more that they will answer it. And your imagination, if you keep asking the same question, your imagination is there to make things up, and it will just start to make things up. So let's look at what happens there. So say because we can end up with an upward or downward spiral with this. So Say if I was to ask the question, I'm really struggling, and I think, oh, you make a mistake, and I go, oh God, why am I so stupid? And I say, why am I so stupid? And off goes my unconscious mind and comes back with an answer to why I am so stupid. And my imagination starts making up stuff about why I'm so stupid. So then what happens is I start to feel a little bit bad about myself. And I go, oh God, what's wrong with me? Why do I feel so bad? And your unconscious mind says, okay, another question. Let me tell you why you feel so bad. And it starts to give you that information, and your imagination starts to make things up. Then you think, oh my God, why am I struggling so much? And your unconscious mind says, well, let me tell you why you're struggling so much. And your imagination throws in some made up stuff. And you go, oh, what's wrong with me? I'm really struggling. What's wrong with me? And then it tells you, oh, I'll tell you exactly what's wrong with you. And it just starts to feed this information. And it can happen with any question that we ask. And I'm proposing that we have these unwanted thoughts, these negative feelings, but they're not unwanted thoughts and negative feelings. They're just unwanted answers and negative answers. They're just unwanted answers to the questions that you ask. So when we're feeling fine, we can lift ourselves up and go up. But as soon as we start feeling bad and we start asking these questions, and our unconscious mind, the seat of our self-esteem and the stuff that really feeds us, starts piling it out, then we just start to feel worse and worse. And then we try to make sense of it and go, why am I struggling so much? What's wrong with me? Etc., etc. And then you get in this downward spiral. So that's what happens with the nature of the questions, and the problem with the fact that our unconscious mind will answer any question we're given it, and our imagination will make up stuff too. But we can use, as you will see, we can use that massively to our advantage. So you might be thinking at this stage, okay, get that, that makes sense. I see how that plays out, etc. So, but why is it that we can't come out of our childhood with a good sense of self-esteem, or it's really difficult? Why is that? It comes down to this fact, this aspect of why is it almost impossible to come out? It comes down to this, that most good things are said to you in the form of statements. So your conscious mind, your willpower, and your intellect hears those things, but your unconscious mind doesn't register, it doesn't hold them in your deep unconscious mind. But most bad things are said to you in the form of questions. Why can't you sit still? What's wrong with you? Why are you such a Wigglebottom? Why aren't you more like your sister? Why are you being so badly behaved? What's wrong with you at the moment? Every single one of those questions has to be answered by the unconscious mind, and stuff gets made up about the imagination, and it gets housed and rooted deep in our unconscious mind. And it starts to form our beliefs, our stories, our neural patterns, our deep memories. And because our unconscious mind, imagination is where the seat of our confidence, our self-worth, self-perception of who we actually are, and our self-esteem, we have 90% of us that has just been fed these negative questions of what's wrong with us, why are we so badly behaved? And it's at the most impressionable age when this is a formation of our beliefs and our stories, our neural pathways and deep memories. So as an adult, all you need to ask the question, oh, what's wrong with me? It has a pathway that's been carved as a result of your childhood. And then logically, we know we're fine. Logically, we know we're loved. Logically, we know we're fine. But that's 10%, and it's logic. It's not our unconscious mind and our imagination. So that's our real challenge, is that we had this in our childhood. And it doesn't mean our parents were bad people. They just do what parents do. They just mainly say good things in the form of statements and mainly say bad things in the form of questions, and they get lodged in our unconscious mind. And that's why so many of us are wandering around not feeling good enough, because our beliefs, our stories, our neural patterns and pathways are created from when we're young. So what can we do about it? What can we fundamentally do about this? So what I'm doing is just breaking this down into two parts in terms of what can you do about it for your kids? What can you do about it for you? So for your kids, the first thing is just to be aware. Is just to be aware that if you say things negative, kind of just make it in a statement. And if you say things positively, make it in a question. And you just literally just flip it, but just be aware that this is going on. And what's also really, really important is that not to feel uncomfortable, beat yourself up, or get really hung up on it. Just be aware and start to try and say the positive things in the form of a question. Have I ever told you I love you? The unconscious mind has to say, have I ever told you I love you? The I love you is implanted in the unconscious mind. Have you any idea how brilliant that is? So when you see something brilliant, say, God, have you any idea how brilliant that is? And then you can put it in with a statement, because the unconscious mind is already tuned in. Have you any idea how brilliant it is? That's really good. Do you know that? That's really good. They're hearing that. Who made you so clever? Why are you so wonderful? Do you know how much I love you? So those sorts of things start to fundamentally change our adult. And you just got to watch the negative questions. I was in, before lockdown happened, a while back, I was in Asda, in the shopping, in the clothes department, and a little girl comes out of the shop, out of the changing thing, and she's got a little party dress on and has a little bit of a glum face. Mother turns around and says, what's wrong with you? Why are you so miserable? Don't you like, what's wrong with it? She goes, well, Mum, let's say, do you like the dress? No, I look horrible in it. Why do you think you look horrible in the dress? Said the mother. So she says in a loud shout, why do you think you look so horrible in it? So the unconscious mind has to answer why she thinks she looks so horrible in it. So she starts reading out, oh, because I'm fat, it doesn't look well like that. Then the mother turns around and says, why are you so miserable? Why, when we go out shopping, why are you just so miserable? Why are you ruining this experience? This was meant to be a lovely time. Why are you ruining it? Why are you just so awful? Why are you doing this? And the child's unconscious mind has to answer why she's so awful, why she's ruining it, and what's wrong with her. The mother says, what's wrong with you? And then the child has to answer what's wrong with it. Then go back in the changing room, change stuff, and all of a sudden it's gone horribly wrong because the child is just answering the question from the unconscious mind. Whereas you could have flip it around, and it's not easy to do this when you've got a child that's doing it. It's not easy, but it's just having that awareness and that consciousness of when the child says, oh, do you like the dress? No, I think I look fat in it. Well, why do you think I think? I think you look nice in that. Why is that? Well, because you're my mother. Yeah, and why else do I think you look nice in it? Well, because you're stupid. Yeah, and why else do I think you look nice in it? Well, because, it's because you're stupid. Why do I think you look nice in that dress? Because you're my mother. And eventually it gets into that question of, and eventually she starts to say, well, because it's a pretty dress, and it starts to shift its way around. So you can literally move an upward or a downward spiral based on the questions that you ask. So choose questions for your children that will actually impart the fact that you love them, you empower them, and they're brilliant. A trick can be, and we've seen this work, when someone says, hey, well done, and they pat you on the back, that seems to anchor it in. And we know through tapping EFT and these different techniques that we can implant things into our unconscious if we do a physical tap or a movement, a pat on the back. So if you're going to do a statement, pat them on the knee, whatever, or shoulder, kiss, whatever. Or do both. Do a question. Have I ever told you how much I love you? And give them a hug at the same time. It's a question and a physical contact. It's super powerful. Have I ever told you? Have you any idea how brilliant you are? Whoa. And it just changes them. Now, what's really important as parents, we can't suddenly learn this stuff and suddenly flip into a completely different. Our kids are not stupid. They will smell a rat. So ease this stuff in and make it try and sound natural, and it will start to shift. The other really, really important thing is choose kindness. And this kindness is aimed at you. Hearing this information, there is a danger that you go, oh my God, I've done this to my children. Yeah, I'm someone that said, oh, why are you so badly behaved? What's wrong with you? There is a curse of new knowledge, that you learn something new like this, and then you go and start beating yourself up around it. So be really careful not to beat yourself up around having done this in the past. Choose kindness. Be kind to previous versions of you that didn't know what you now know. choose kindness. Super important. Then in terms of what you can do about it for you, because you have been a child once. So how can you boost up the part of your child that didn't feel good about itself? How can you feel good about yourself? How can you retrain the unconscious mind to start to answer the questions that are useful? Well, I call these conscious questions. And conscious questions are a question you consciously construct to change how you feel or to resolve an issue or invoke a positive response or state. And I'm going to give you a super quick way to do this because they're incredibly powerful. Conscious questions have the ability to change our neural pathways, our connections in our brain, change the expression of our DNA. They fundamentally can rewire, and for the first time, you can really feel good about yourself. And it's what we do at our events. So, for example, we've got a 5-day mindset makeover challenge. Well, in that, we look at how do you take control of your thoughts and your feelings so that they're not in control of you. And it's all about what questions do we ask? Because remember, your thoughts are not unwanted. They're just unwanted. They're not unwanted thoughts. They're just unwanted answers. So, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a bit of this information from this challenge, this 5-day challenge that we do. And I'm going to give you a conscious questions construction framework, a 5-step process to construct a conscious question to change how you feel or change a thought or a response. I'm going to teach you this now. 5-step process, 5-step framework. Step 1 is set your intention, decide on what you want the outcome to be. Step 2, construct your conscious question. Step 3, try it out. Doesn't quite work, adjust it. And then apply it, embody it, use it. And step 5, and this is really important, deposit it in your conscious question bank. What we have is we teach people to get like a notebook. It doesn't have to be anything grand. And when you come up with a really nice conscious question, you kind of just, oh, I'm going to make a note of that, because at a time, certain time in the future, you think, actually, I'm feeling a bit low. This is a question that I know worked in the past. So deposit them in your conscious question bank. So let's just briefly look at these for you. Deciding what you want the outcome to be is really simple. It's just, I am like this, and I want to be like this. That's literally it. I'm like this, and I want to be like this. And you just set a question that will be able to create that. That's what you do. So say, I'm in a situation, I'm really not coping. I'm not coping with something. You could ask the question, God, what's wrong with me? Why am I struggling so much? And your unconscious mind will tell you why you're struggling so much and what's wrong with you. Or you could use a conscious question as simple as, why can I cope with this? Or you might say, why can I handle this? Or you might say, why am I quite capable of getting through this? And when you ask the question, why am I quite capable of getting through this? Your unconscious mind and your imagination will tell you why you are quite capable of getting through this. It will not flip it around. It will tell you why you can cope and why you can handle it. And that will empower you to make a difference. So when you're choosing a conscious question, you can have all sorts. You can just use why, tell me exactly why, how, what. And so why can I handle this? Tell me why I can handle this. Tell me exactly why I can cope with this. How can I cope with this? What aspect of my past will enable me to cope with this? So you ask that question, what aspect of my past will enable me to cope with this? Your unconscious mind has to bring up the aspect from your past that will enable you to cope with it. And that is empowering. If you say stuck in the past and you've got something about the past that keeps coming in, because remember, our unconscious mind and our imagination doesn't know the difference between the past, the present, and the future. You can be in your imagination in the past or in the present or in the future. Your unconscious mind can be wandering into the past or in the present. It just wanders around. It doesn't care or know the difference between time. It just wanders in these areas. So sometimes we've got to get our unconscious mind to know that the past is the past. And now is now, and there is a difference. You are not in the past. You are not defined by your history. So you ask the question, why is the past and why is now now? It separates, it creates that separation so you can move on. And that gets to be empowering as a parent. And as a parent, ask the question, why is it my fundamental right to make mistakes? And this is a fantastic question, because our kids and us, we get paralyzed that we're going to make a mistake and get it all wrong. But why? Ask the question, why is it my fundamental right to make mistakes? Ask that question now. Why is it my fundamental right to make mistakes? Why is that my right? What comes up for you? Often when we do this in workshop, people say, because that's how I learn. So what comes up for you when you ask, why is it my fundamental right to make mistakes? And why is the past, and why is now, now? And why do I move forward? They're very powerful at keeping us going. So when you ask, you've constructed a conscious question, you come up with this idea, I like this question, let me try it out. And you try it out and you have three common responses. First of all, it might feel like it doesn't fit or it clashes in some way. Now, this is really fascinating. So this quick question, why am I completely brilliant and wonderful at everything I do? And why do I never, ever make mistakes? So I came up with that question about 4 years ago because I thought, okay, I want to have a question that creates a clash. The problem is, I have said this question so many, or the brilliance is, I've said this question so many times, it no longer clashes. When I first had it, it used to clash. And now when I ask the question, why am I completely brilliant and wonderful at everything I do? And why do I never, ever make mistakes? My unconscious mind comes back with, because you care. Why am I completely brilliant and wonderful at everything I do? Because I care, because I try my best, because this stuff matters to me. And why do I never, ever make mistakes? Because I'm just learning. So if you have a question that clashes with you, it's trying to go against some neural pathway that's been formed. We ran some events for teenagers and we got some of them to ask, why am I loved and why am I lovable? And they could not answer that question. It created an internal clash. And isn't that tragic that someone can't ask the question, why am I lovable? Answer the question, why am I lovable? To have that sense, it just felt an internal conflict, an internal clash. So we just said, no, just keep with it. Why are you lovable? What is the answer to that? Why are you loved? Clash couldn't do it, really uncomfortable. Eventually, they started, you saw a fundamental shift of why am I lovable? Well, because I'm kind of silly and I'm daft and I'm this and I'm that. And they eventually were able to do it. So just because it clashes to start with, it's just having to go against these pathways that we've got formed in our brain. The second response could be it has a neutral feeling. And this could be because the question was too complex or it had little meaning. Conscious questions should be really simple. Why can I cope? Why can I handle this? The more complex, it's childlike language. The unconscious mind just comes up with it. Too complex, too little meaning, won't be able to answer it. Or perhaps you didn't give it any feeling or concentrate on when you asked it. So the unconscious mind, the imagination, listens to questions that are given with feeling and emotion. And that's the problem with the bad things that we're saying to our children. Is say, why are you so badly behaved? What's wrong with you? We're saying it with emotion and they're really hearing it. So, and it's a blessing that it doesn't hear it if you don't concentrate or it's not right. So you can actually ask 1,001 casual negative questions and the unconscious mind doesn't really bother with it. And 1,001 negative questions can be overpowered by one good conscious question asked with feeling and concentration. And the other reason it might have a neutral feeling is because your unconscious mind just needs a bit of time to answer. Just the same as when you think of a name of an actor, or what's the name of the actor in that film? 20 minutes later, his or her name will pop up. So maybe it just needs a bit of time for it to answer. And just the same as when we answer negative things and 20 minutes later, I'm feeling really bad. I wonder what's wrong with me. Oh, another question. Let me run with that one, please. Woo. On the third thing is it gives you a positive, uplifting feeling, and that's what we're after. And when you get these right, and when you do them, and you will, you go, whoa, I feel good with this. It just changes you in a way that is just so powerful because it's getting it from the unconscious mind and the imagination, that deep-seated stuff. It's where 90% of all stuff comes from. It uplifts you and changes your feeling in an instant. So regardless of how you were as a parent or how you were parented or what's going on, we can have a different relationship with our past, we can have a different relationship with us, and we can use conscious questions to lighten ourselves up, to love ourselves, to feel good about ourselves. And we can use them when we start to spiral downwards and recognize, you know what, I'm spiraling downwards. I think I have just asked questions that haven't been helpful. What question could I ask to lift myself up? What would the highest version of me do here? Why will I cope? Why am I okay? Why am I good at this? Why can I handle this? Whatever question would empower you and lift you up. So use them to lift yourself up, to make yourself strong, and use them. If you're a parent and your kids, just experiment and try them, and teach them about conscious questions and how they can use them to empower themselves. It's my gift. So I just have kind of 3 golden rules with this, just wrapping up. 3 golden rules are: first one, ask questions that will help you or others. Choose your questions wisely. Second one is, don't beat up earlier versions of yourself. That's not kind. Don't beat up earlier versions of yourself. Earlier versions of yourself are the seat of your self-esteem. Don't beat them up. So ask questions that will help you and others. Don't beat up earlier versions of yourself. Rule 1 and rule 2. And rule 3 is, if you break rule 1 and 2, then don't sweat it. You know what? You will ask questions that don't help you, and you will beat yourselves up. But just when you do that, just have another go. You break rule 1 and 2, don't sweat it. Just try again to do it, and you will get there. And remember, if you're asking the question, am I a good parent? If you're asking that question, it means you are. The very nature that you're asking that question means you are a good parent. So don't ever doubt that you aren't a good parent if you've asked the question, am I a good parent? So I hope you have found that content useful. Thank you very much for being here. And again, thank you very much for Positively Empowered Kids for making this happen. If you found this useful, we've got content at 5 Institute events, different things that we're running all the time. But thank you so much for watching, for being part of this. And you are a wonderful parent because you are here listening and watching this. Okay, much love. Thanks ever so much. Any questions for me, whatever, please do ask. Bye for now.